Taiwan, I'm Leslie Liao. Thanks for joining us. A deadly explosion at a Taichung department store last week may be linked to illegal renovations that were going on at the time. The owners of the building say there was no permit to carry out the work because of a, quote, oversight. John Van Trieste has more.
Firefighters make a heat map of the partly ruined Xinhuang Mitsukoshi department store in Taichung. It's part of a probe into how an explosion ripped through the building's upper floors last week, killing 4 people and injuring dozens. Despite a lack of scorch marks or other signs of fire, investigators say they haven't changed their theory that gas was involved.
爆炸的时候，在一瞬间它就已经完全燃烧了，所以才会让大家看到爆开的时候是没有火光的。不过事实上，因为有民众有被灼伤的一个情形，所以我们还是断定它还是有燃烧的一个过程。
Though the shock has yet to subside in central Taiwan's biggest city, and the search for evidence is far from over, it's now time for recovery. Though the building's structure was judged safe for now, the city government wants guarantees it will stay sound, especially when work to clear out merchandise and other items starts.
要赶快提出相关的安全认定跟鉴定，那这个部分才可以确保我后续的人进去抢救相关它的物品的时候，不会受到里面的倾倒物或是结构安全的危险的影响。
The department store's owner said it had planned to hand over such an assessment and plan on Monday. But that doesn't settle the problems the owners could face, especially as inspectors dig into illegal renovations that were going on at the time of the blast, and whether there's a link between this work and the explosion. The owners say their failure to get a permit was an oversight, but there could still be legal consequences as the investigation into what happened finds answers. Scott Huang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is looking at buying billions of dollars worth of arms from the U.S., reportedly to show the Trump administration that Taiwan is committed to its defense. Rick Liao reports.
The challenge of safeguarding contested waters. This video released by Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense showing the country's military facing up to increasing Chinese activity in the Taiwan Strait. China claims this waterway and the rest of Taiwan as part of its sovereign territory, and it's threatening to take it by force. To counter this threat, Taiwan is arming itself, mainly with weapons from its biggest international backer, the United States. And now, according to news agency Reuters, Taipei is planning a new $10 billion purchase, including coastal defense cruise missiles and mobile rocket launcher systems.
关于路透社引述匿名人士的说明，本部这边不予评论。但是国防部每年均依据敌情的威胁来滚动式修调我们的武力兵力整建的计划，并且针对兵力整建的项目，我们会将军购、商售跟自制3个方式来筹获并审慎的评估。所以军购并不是唯一的管道。
Despite promising to boost defense spending, Taiwan President Liao is under pressure to do more. New US President Donald Trump has accused Taiwan of taking its support for granted.
So Lai is trying to show himself and Taiwan as serious about Taiwan's defense, about willing to help out U.S. industry, and what he's trying to avoid is this image that he is a free rider on the U.S. and that the U.S. Is just, giving Taiwan benefits without anything returned.
Lai is also facing a hostile political situation at home. Opposition parties have the majority in his country's legislature and have cut his government's budget, meaning he'll have to persuade his political adversaries if he is to make good on his commitment to Taiwan's self-defense. Karma Xu and Rick Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan lawmakers have finished a tense meeting about the controversial national budget weeks after it passed legislative review.
我们今天的协商显然没有办法达成3党的共识，非常的遗憾。114年度中央政府总预算已经3度通过，也做出最终的决议。因此，基于对民意的尊重，我们也请行政院能够尊重本院的决议，不宜轻易提出复议，增加朝野的纷争。但是我们会尊重行政院做任何决定。
Legislators and the Speaker appeared frustrated after the meeting, which was meant to clarify parts of the $89 billion budget and assuage the cabinet's concerns that it would impede the government's ability to implement policy. The two opposition parties slashed the cabinet's proposed budget by a record 6.6%. The legislature will now send the budget to the cabinet, which will decide whether to send it back for a revote or pass it on to the president for final approval. Chinese President Xi Jinping has held a rare meeting with the heads of his country's leading tech companies. Among those present, Huawei's founder Ren Zhengfei, Alibaba founder Jack Ma, and Tencent CEO Pony Ma. Liang Wenfeng, the founder of artificial intelligence company DeepSeek, was also present. At the meeting, Xi said that technology companies should serve the goal of China's overall economic development. It's the most forceful sign China could shift its approach to the tech industry after a sweeping regulatory crackdown that began in 2022. For more on the meeting between Xi and Chinese tech leaders, Alec McDonald spoke to Wen-Ti Song, non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub.
Yesterday, Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Jack Ma and other tech entrepreneurs in China as an apparent signal to the private industry that the tech crackdown is over. What exactly is the Chinese leadership signaling right now?
I think the Chinese state now is having a much more keener understanding that the vitality, the dynamism of Chinese economy cannot be entirely state-led. And that's why you are seeing the Chinese state now showing much more interest and openness towards re-engaging the civility and the private sector again. Hopefully that they will be able to, in the process of engagement, fairly elicit that level of innovation and energy out of the private sector economy, especially in tech and innovation-heavy sectors. I think that's the hope right now in China. And certainly at the moment we're having a Trumpian transition with much more uncertain relationship between U.S. and other liberal democratic society partners, many of whom may be thinking about potential for retooling into who they go to for technology and research cooperation going forward. I think China is seeing a certain window of opening at this juncture. And so I think Chinese state in engaging with China's own domestic technology entrepreneurs is a signal they're trying to send to other foreign research institutions, foreign businesses, and foreign tech startups as well. And that signal is that China is open for business again, including in previously sensitive areas of technology.
So is this something that China really needs to do in order to get ahead or try to get ahead of Trump's coming trade war?
Where China feels it may struggle quantitatively with Trump's coming trade war, China is trying to find the edge wherever it can into regaining that qualitative advantage through technology. We hear talks about DeepSeek, for example. We hear talks also about China's pushing forward the BRD, for example, at a time that Tesla may be running into more headwinds in terms of market access and market share expansion in Western countries.
So another element of this is that the domestic audience in China has not necessarily had strong faith in the domestic economy. Is this signal meeting between tech leaders and the government a signal strong enough to encourage China's domestic audience to maybe spend and invest more into their own economy?
The actual efficacy remains to be seen, but I think what Chinese state is doing now is making the first step, at least reassuring domestic investors that it's not going to be all politics every day. And if you're willing to put forward your capital investments, they will be embraced with more open arms than they have been for a few years. And rather than risking having them confiscated or otherwise being challenged or run into problems with the regulators.
That was Wen-Ti Song, non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, join in the festivities at Cologne, Germany's annual carnival. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.